Apparently things break, sadly. Well, I guess they standard breaking things, stopping the recording and all that. Anyway, let's try again. See if it works this time. For a little longer, at least. So, in regards to the book of Revelation, so we have the 144,000 Israelites sealed, and that happens in the great, in the sixth seal, where the great tribulation is there. I would think in regards to the harvest of the in regards to the other story where they, I can't remember what it. Well, you have one harvest and then you have another harvest. The second harvest is in regards to grapes, which is poured out in the thing outside the city for in regards to the wrath of God. So the second harvest seems to be that must be the Christians that is being butchered, and the first harvest must be the tares. I would think, but Yeshua talks about the tares would be gathered together and then burned in the one of the in the so-called in the 4 books of the Good News. We have him talking about that the tares will, I think it's Matthew, but might be other places in regards of those 4 books. But it talks about the tares will be collected together, they will be burned. And this is at the end at the harvest, and the harvest is yet future. It's still, of course, it's still ongoing in regards of, things. We're still at the time, but there is a specific time in regards of the harvest. So the tares and the wheat grow up together until the harvest, which is yet future in our days. And then he says, well, first the tares will be gathered together and burned, and then afterwards the wheat will be taken into his barn. So I go with the little sheep going down there. Now let's put this there. Oh, go. Oh, we can maybe also still make it a little bigger. Anyway, I have my t-shirt on, although it's like extra large or something like that. But it's actually not a big problem. I can actually have it on without... But the idea was that I could have it outside the jacket, at demonstrations or whatever. But I never gotten to use it yet. And I can't remember if I tried it. But it says Jesus, Jesus, God, Pope 666 in regards to my thing, and then the Danish thing as well. I don't know, maybe I only should have one address, website, and then anyway, it would be, I guess we shouldn't speak about money related things in regards to that. So, but anyway, so we have the 144,000 being, getting the seal of God in regards to those 12 tribes, which Dan is not included. So he's probably included in all those people that have been killed coming from the Great Tribulation. And again, when people are talking about, all these things, and they go into the trumpets and all that and make ideas, or, says this and that is this, and happening already and all that, it's just nonsense. Because we haven't passed the 6th seal. We haven't had the 144,000 Israelites sealed. We haven't had the tribulation. Now, most people understand we haven't had the tribulation. So if we haven't had the tribulation, we cannot have any of those trumpets fulfilled. So when you see these so-called teachers, whatever, and they're promoting, that trumpets has been blown and all that, it's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. Anyway, because the furthest we can get in the timeline, in the first, vision, or whatever you want to call it, the first story, and you have different where you pick details together to get the whole story. Um, you know, like you have the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. You get puzzle pieces, and further in the book of Revelation, you have, and that you also have that in the book of Daniel, where you have one and then you have six. So you have from it's pretty much yeah. So you can it talks about some of the same, but from a different angle where it also gives more information and this and that. But anyway, the first in regards to the seals, the seven seals and the seven trumpets, um, you know, it you cannot get any further than the fifth seal. Because we have the fifth seal, and we have Christians having died in the fifth seal, and they're told they have to wait for the other brothers, um, that should be killed as themselves. Now that, as far as I can see, would be happening in the Great Tribulation, where you have all these people standing that are Christians who have become Christians and have been butchered for the Word of God. Um, so, although I don't think it actually says that these people have been butchered at that very specific place here. You have to gather the puzzle pieces in regards to those Christians having died in the fifth seal. You have the sixth seal where the Great Tribulation is. Great Tribulation is, butchering of people all over the world. That will be a huge, So, uh-oh. I have some heat issues apparently on the mobile. You gotta be kidding me. If it's not one issue, it's another issue, right? High temperature will be turned off. Are you kidding me? Anyway, hopefully it won't turn off. But we'll see. Maybe device will be turned off for safety. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay, let's try again. Old mobile, old mobile that can't handle that much in regards of camera, and I wouldn't think that sheep would take that much, but maybe it does take some. We have the problem again of well, maybe it is the sheep that takes a little more power for it, so it gets hot. Let's see here. We can have an empty page here. Let's try that. There we go. So it's not that one issue, it's another issue, right? So as far as I can understand, you have this huge amount of people from every nation in the world that has been killed and now stand in front of the Lamb's throne. So, but they're coming out of the Great Tribulation. And apparently the mobile is again complaining over me using the camera and uploading. Yeah, well, that's how it is to have an old phone. But what can you do when they have closed other features down after Android 8, Anyway, that's another. So anyway, so we have people in, the Great Tribulation. Most people do. It's pretty foundational, that understanding that huge amount of people will be killed in regards to the Great Tribulation. Of course, we have it from other places as well. But anyway, from the other story that is coming later. But it's interesting with those 144,000 that is sealed on the head in the with the God's seal, because it seems like they are also still there in the fifth trumpet, it seems, because it says that you shouldn't hurt those that are sealed in the. Oh, give me a break. I'm just going to push this down for a moment and see if we can get it down. I don't know why it's complaining. I don't think it's okay. Okay. I can feel it's a little hot. I don't know why it would be that hot, but anyway. So what was I thinking? Oh yeah, the 144,000 are sealed in the So they might be protected. At least it seems like they're protected from the four angels with the four winds or something like that. You know. So let's see here. Okay. That's not easy to let's see here. We have this, yeah, and then you have the sixth seal, and then we have the trumpets. Let's see here, fifth trumpet. See if we can find fifth trumpet. It's not always easy. Yeah, so we have the fifth angel here, and it says in verse 4 that we have these grasshoppers that is coming out of the, I guess, the pit, and they're told that they're going to damage people, but not those who has the seal on their front head. So it seems like if it's the 144,000 that is sealed in the front head, so maybe those people are still around being protected by God. Maybe they're still witnessing at that point in regard to the judgment. I'm not entirely sure. Of course, we have, that's the sixth trumpet, right? Where we have, yeah. The sixth trumpet is where the two prophets comes around, isn't it? Yeah. So that's still, that's the judgment still of God in regard to the trumpets. And the city of Jerusalem is given over to the Gentiles for 42 months. And it says that, that these two will be prophesying, two prophets will be prophesying for 1,200 and, 60 days? Which is the same as 42 months. So that might be the same time. It seems to be the same time when the Gentiles, and this has to be future, and the temple has to be there at that point. Because how is these things going to happen in the future if there's no temple when it talks about a temple, There's just, if there's no temple, we have, there's, and of course they die in the city of Jerusalem. So the temple stands in Jerusalem. It's said that the Gentiles has been giving out the outer yard, but the temple is given to, I guess, the Jews. But apparently not the outer thing, that's for the Gentiles. Yeah, it says, the yard of the Gentiles is, that's, outside the temple, that's for the Gentiles for these 42 months. And they shall tramp down the holy city, and that holy city would be Jerusalem, in 42 months. Because how do we know it's, the holy city is Jerusalem? It's because, these two prophets are dying in Jerusalem, which is, spiritual names of Sodom and Egypt, right? And it's told that where their Lord was also crucified or executed. So, this is Jerusalem, that holy city of Jerusalem. So it's called the holy city, apparently. So, just when people are talking about these weird, Anyway, and I will set my two witnesses to prophesy in 1260 days. So that seems to be in the period where the Gentiles are tramping down the holy city for 42 months. So that's tramping down the holy city in regards to Jerusalem for 42 months. And God sets his two witnesses to prophesy in those 1260 days, as far as I can gather. Or maybe it's afterwards, but that doesn't seem to, then you would think that it would be saying it in another way, right? So you would think that it's, that these two prophets are said to prophesy at the same time that the Gentiles are tramping down the holy city. Um, so, is it still uploading? Seems to still be uploading. Okay, and and I will set my two witnesses to uh, to prophesy in 1260 days, and they are clothed in sack. Um, and the witnesses are the two olive trees and the two what do you call it? Golden stage? I don't know. Golden candlesticks, whatever. That is in front of the Lord of the earth. And whoever wants to do them any anything against them, there will be fire out of their mouth, and they will destroy their enemy, I guess. If anyone will do them anything, that is how they will be killed. They have the power to close the heavens so there's no rain, as long as they prophesy, and they have power to change the water to blood and hit the earth with every single kind of plague as often that they will. And I wonder, in regards to those, I do wonder if that could be related to maybe the seven bowls later on, because the seventh bowls is the seven last plagues of God. So those are the last seven plagues until Christ returns. At the last point. So, as far as I can see in regards to the bowls, they might be in I don't know, but it must be before the seventh trumpet when everything is fulfilled, and you can see the bowls again. You can see some of the same descriptions at the last bowl in regards of earthquake and lightning and hail and all that. It seems to be the same place we have at the ending two places. In one of the story and the other story, it seems to both of them end at that specific point in regards of hail and lightning and a lot of noise and thunder and earthquake and hail. It seems to be describing the same thing if you go to 12:19 and then go over to 16:17. It seems to be the same ending here. You have the same. You have the end in regards of the last seven plagues, and you have the trumpet, which of course also is the end in the in the other story. You have two stories. You have two stories explaining things from different angles and giving data and information. And that seems to be, where we can pinpoint. We have an ending here. So in regards to the seven last plagues, I would think they were before the seventh trumpet, but I'm still researching that. But maybe they could have something to do with those prophets, but maybe not. Maybe the prophets comes first, and then, after they are killed, after they have killed. Oh yeah, that's true. They actually killed those prophets, right? Yeah. So I guess the seven plagues would come after that. So they kill those two prophets, and they are laying there 3.5 days in the city of Jerusalem. And they are prophesied in 1260 days, where the Gentiles trample down the city of Jerusalem. Okay, and that's in the future. It must be in the future. And we have a temple in the future, so there must be a third temple. And then probably also a temple in regards to the 1,000-year reign. So as far as I can see, there probably is two future temples. A third one that will come up um, before Christ comes to earth, and then then one that is made afterwards. I think we have descriptions of a temple in one of the old prophets where it talks about things in regards of sounding like it's from the 1,000-year reign in regards to the city of Jerusalem and what's going on and the temple and the city. I can't remember all the details. But anyway, so and of course we know that Yeshua was crucified in Jerusalem. So again, this is Jerusalem. The holy city is Jerusalem, and this is why the two witnesses are prophesying. And there's a temple, and this is in the future because this is at the sixth trumpet, and no trumpet has been blown yet. We are still, at least as I can see, counting to Shavuot in the timeline in regard to the festivals of God that also lays out the past, present, and future. We have teaching in those festivals, Christian festivals that we don't keep. That most Christians don't keep. Most proclaimed Christians keep the satanic festivals of the Antichrist. And thereby they miss out on a lot of teaching, a lot of things, a lot of truth. Because they don't get those gold nuggets or those foundational layers that can help them to further be able to unlock the mysteries of God. But anyway, instead of counting to 50 in spring, most Christians are counting to 24, 25 at the winter. In regards to the Antichrist festival or Christ Mass, where he's shown on the television at midnight, at least. Of course, it depends on where you are on Earth, but around 24, 25, the Antichrist is shown live from the Vatican, doing all his abominations and all that. Anyway, but we can see that Jerusalem is also known by the spiritual name of Sodom and Egypt. And actually, if you go to Jerusalem today in the old city, there's so much disgusting idols, images, witchcraft. It's so disgusting. They're selling all these, and it's just an intermix of it's an intermix of Christianity and Judaism and Mohammedanism and all that, and it's so disgusting to see all these shops. They should just burn it all. It's just depraved. But anyway, so I guess Sodom and Egypt. I guess well, I don't know how many homosexuals. Well, that was the park where apparently it was a meeting place for homosexuals. So there are something of that kind in Jerusalem, but as far as I know, mostly in regards of sodomy, it goes to Tel Aviv. That's mostly, there are people in Jerusalem that don't want this sodomy around. So, but anyway, but its spiritual name in regards of Jerusalem is Sodom and Egypt, and this is where the Lord was crucified. So again, this Jerusalem. So the people after these two prophets or servants of God have been killed, which I think could be Eliyahu and Yohanan. I think those are the two people that could show up in regards of the Jews are waiting for Eliyahu to come, and they have this tradition of having an empty seat and all that on one of the festivals, which I can't remember if it's the Day of Trumpet or if it's I wonder which festival they actually do that. That might actually be interesting when they actually would do that. I wonder if they would do it in regards of the trumpet blow. If they actually do it in regards to the festival of trumpets, that would be a pretty interesting thing. That would be pretty interesting for sure. I guess I could just do a search, you know. Okay, see here. I usually would use a J instead of a Y, but most people use a Y. Eliyahu's seed served to the prophet Elijah, but when what festival is it? Maybe they do it at Passover. So that wouldn't be fitting for. It just be interesting. It would be interesting if, yeah, okay. Would you explain the tradition of the empty chair for Elijah at the Passover table? So apparently they do it at the Passover table. Interesting. Well, I guess it would have been more interesting if they actually did it at the Day of Trumpet in regards to those two prophets. But anyway, let's get back to it. So we have the two prophets. They're killed by the beast, the first beast. It talks about the beast that is coming out of the earth not the earth beast, but the one that comes out of the pit, and that's the first beast. You see that in another place where it talks about that. So, somewhere see here. Yeah, the beast that gets up of the pit, or whatever word that is used in English, will do war against them and will destroy them, kill them. So, and everybody will be happy, 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 apparently, on the earth. Here we have the two prophets. Those two prophets, then we have the word choice of two prophets. So two prophets, two witnesses. So two witnesses or two prophets, and they're told to be the candlesticks in front of God, or the two olive trees in front of God. And of course, candlesticks, that's, we see the seven candlesticks in the churches, which are represented as congregations, in some sense, right? Seven congregations, seven churches, which with seven stars, which is in regards of the, I would think in regards to the bishop or whatever you would use of name. But anyway, the person that shepherds them in some sense. Of course, Jesus is the shepherd, but the one that is the helper for the congregation. I guess that actually is a pretty good word. The helper for the congregation, to lead people into truth and help them in the direction, An elder maybe, but a helper would be a pretty good word. An helper. That's also a pretty humble title, right? And that's what that was what we are told to be, right? The greatest should be the smallest, and the smallest the greatest. Anyway, but yeah, we are to help others to understand things. So they are killed, and 1/10 of the city trashes together with an earthquake, and there was killed 7,000 people. That must be in Jerusalem. So there's an earthquake in Jerusalem, and 7,000 people die. And the rest was, grabbed in fear, and they gave the God the honor, and the second woe is done. And soon the third woe. There, they also talk about that, even with all these things that people didn't give So maybe, I don't know if it's only Jerusalem that these mm, yeah, with the earth, I would think it's probably in Jerusalem, right? That they grabbed the fear and they gave the God the honor. So it seems like if you have 7,000 dying in Jerusalem and the rest, that would be the rest in Jerusalem, right? Giving the honor to and credit to God. Um, but anyway, the second woe is finished. Soon the third woe. Okay, so we have the seventh angel blowing, and and then it says that the world, what do you call it, dominion is now our Lord's, and his, what do you call that, anointed, yep. And he shall be king in all eternity. So here we see pretty much the end of things. And we see the 24 elders falling down in front of the throne of God. And they say, "We thank you, Lord God, all Almighty, who is and which was." Which is interesting. Some of the translations actually have "and who is to come," and it just seems weird because Jesus should have come here, taking his power. But I don't know. But this Danish version also only takes some that was, or sorry, that is and that was, because now he has come, so it doesn't need to say that. But some translations do. Because you have taken over your big great power and is become king, and the nations raged, but your wrath came. There we go in regard to the wrath. I see. Yep. The wrath came, and that would be the seven trumpets, right? And you have the last bowls of wrath as well. So where would these seven bowls of wrath be? Well, I would think they would be after those two prophets have been killed. In regards of prophesying, I would think that actually in regards of those seven winds which are talked about, I do wonder if that's also at the time of when these two prophets is afterwards. Well, it sounds like it's afterwards, but I do wonder if it's like details in regards to these seven winds telling John, you shall prophesy again, and then further getting details that there will be two prophets coming, speaking, prophesying, witnessing, and all that in 1280 days. It's just interesting that it says you shall prophesy again for many nations and all that. And then it goes into those 1260 days. So maybe these winds that is spoken is actually something happening in those 1260 days, or the 42 months where these two are prophesying. But we will see, I guess. Anyway, I'm just trying to collect puzzle pieces here. It also talks about in regards of when the seven angel blows the trumpet, the time will be ended. God's secrets, filled up, that he has told to his servants and prophets, right? So when the seven angel blows, we're pretty much at the end, and the same thing with the seven bowls, we are at the end on those seven last plagues. They're called the seven last plagues, so they must be the seven last plagues, right? And there are also differences with those plagues. Some say, and I was also looking into this, and I still need to look into things, but that there are some things that sounds the same, right? And yet not entirely. So, if you have, I think it's one of the places in the trumpet, you have 1/3 of the life in the waters that dies, but in the in the bowls, you have everything dying in the waters, you know, at some point. So that's a difference, right? There's a difference between 1/3 of the fish dying and whatever lives in the waters and all that, and then compared to all, you know. Yeah, lots of noises around me, you know, that's typical the thing, right? You know. Anyway, so that makes sense. That makes sense, I think, you know, that the seven last bowls would be the seven last plagues. So when are they coming? That's the good question, right? Well, if the world is happy in regards of you know, after those two prophets has been killed, the question is, where would you put those seven bowls, right? Would they be after having been slaughtered? You know, after testifying in regards of Jesus Christ, the eternal gospel, the good news, and witnessing in regards of things and doing a lot of havoc on earth to the deniers and unbelievers and you know liars and deceivers and all that. Yeah, that's a good question. When would they be? Because we have the third woe. So the question is, the third woe, there must be things going on as well in the third woe. Um, but they say when the third woe comes, you know, right? That's another woe. So it would be one of those biggies, right? If you have the first woe and the second woe and the third woe, the third woe would also be, you know, when Christ comes back, you know, casting the Antichrist into the fire, the lake of fire, and all that, and the false prophets and all that. So there seems to be things that you know must happen in the seven blow, but we don't get that much information here. We just told that now the the world is now our Lord. You know, He comes and take it. You know, so. Um, dun, 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 dun. And that hour when the dead shall be judged, and you shall give the salary to your servants, the prophets, or your servants and prophets, yeah, the salary, yeah, and to the holy, and to those that fear your name, small and great, and those that destroy the earth. Ødelægge dem. Oh yeah, and destroy those that destroys the earth, and God's temple in the heavens became opened, and His this pact, you know, I guess the Ten Commandments or something like that. That's what where the Ten Commandments is, right? Could be seen in His temple, and there came lightning and noise and thunder and earthquake and what do you call that? Vicious hail or something of that nature. I don't know. Wasn't there a place where the people in regards of hail as well, and that plague was incredible bad, or the people didn't repent? I think there was something in regards of hail, in regards of a plague in regards of hail. So I do wonder where we have that. Okay. Maybe we can actually just do like this. Yeah, that seems to actually be, I guess, 8-7. That's actually the first angel blowing, so that's not the same as the end hail. If it's a physical thing and all that in regards to the end, it would not be the same hail. That is because the first angel blew its trumpet, and they came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was fixed over the earth, and 1/3 of the earth burned up, and 1/3 of the trees burned up, and all the green grass burned up. So that's the first angel blowing. But we also have like thunder and noise and lightning and earthquake here when he takes it up. So it's not only at the end apparently, because this is the beginning of the things where things begins. So like that starts with it and then ends with it, I guess. Okay. And you see the 11:19 and 16:21. And the temple of God was open in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. And 16:21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Now then we actually also see. So, but that seems to be the at the very, very end, right? See here. Yeah. So that's the end of this the one story in regards of the seals and trumpets, and then the new story starts with one of the 7 angels with the 7 bowls, came and told me, I will show you the. No, this is that's the second story, and then one of the angels from the second story shows the secret of the great Babylon and all that. Okay, yeah, but you still have, you have the ending 11:19 and 16:21 that seems to be speaking about the same thing, and of course you then have Revelation 8:7, which seems to be starting it all in regards of, But at least 11:19 and 16:21 seems to be the same end of the 2 stories. So if you, that seems to be like a foundational end of things, and then something new pick up, going back in time. Oh, it's not easy. So, oh. So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it can. Maybe we can do some. We can see here. Camera. Okay. So yeah. So far so good, right? That's interesting. So you actually have also something in front of some. Yeah. Anyway. So here we have the 7 bowls, the 7 bowls of wrath. And here we go with, it says it's the last 7 plagues, and apparently this doesn't work so good. So the last 7 plagues, right? So it has to be the last, right? It says last. The last. If it says last, it must be the last. For with these, God's wrath is, filled in full. And we see those that have victory over the beast, and its picture and its name's number stand on the glass ocean or whatever, with God's harps, and they sing God's servant Moses' song. So they're standing with harps. We also see some harp music other places, and it's not easy to collect these things in regards of matching this with that and that with this, and it's just there's so many things, and you have to be careful as well not to. Some people, for example, believe that the 10 horns in the book of Daniel is the same as the 10 horns in the book of Revelation, but it's not. It's two different things. The 10 horns in Daniel has been fulfilled, but not the 10 horns in the book of Revelation. And 3 of them is plucked up in the past, and then you have the Antichrist growing up in regards to the papacy of the number 666. So that's already in effect in our days. But the 10 kings gives its power to the beast for 1 hour or something like that. Power and dominion to the beast. So, and these are going to attack Jesus Christ. So these, and then will lose, but so these are not the same. Okay, so let's see here. So here we see the 5th angel fixing its bowl over the beast's throne, and we see that these people at the end doesn't turn back. It says, well, they didn't turn back. And we have in regard to the beast and the false prophet, and collecting all the kings and all the world for the war on God, the Almighty's great day. And he says, "See, I come as a thief." And you remember that Jesus was talking in regards to a thieving, so I guess they won't know, I don't know how it will overly, because clearly they're collecting, the people for getting into a war with God, but I don't know if they, But he collects the people at Armageddon, which is also in Israel. So here we go again with Israel. I don't know what that was. A message of some kind. Anyway, so these people are cursing God for the... Here we go with the hail plague. Oh yeah, the last hail plague. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's here. So the 7th angel poured out its bowl over in the air, and that was a great, okay. And you have the lightning, thunder, and earthquake, and the great city went into 3 pieces, and the nation's cities crashed together. So the question, of course, is who is this great city? Could that be related with Jerusalem, or I don't know? And the great Babylon was not forgotten by God, and he pours out the things and all that. And we get, the hail plague here. But this is the seventh angel in regards of its bowl, so it has to be, it has to be in the. It's in the end game here, so it can be the hails that is in front of the trumpet, if these are the last bowls, the last plagues, right? Of course, if this was not the last plagues, if the thunders came, if the trumpets came afterwards, then these 7 plagues were not the last 7 plagues, And these 7 plagues is pretty huge in regards of, making all the water into blood, I see here. And the second angel poured out its bowl over the ocean, and it became blood as it was dead, and all living creatures in the ocean died. So at this point, at the second bowl, all the things in the ocean, not just 1/3. I think one of the trumpets says 1/3 of the creatures dies. But this is not 1/3. This is all of the creatures in the ocean dies. So. So you see the difference between the two, the trumpets and the seal. It's just hard to get all the things here. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. This is the second trumpet, and the second angel blew in its trumpet, and something like a huge mountain was crashed into the ocean, and 1/3 of the ocean became blood. So this is only 1/3 of the ocean. Well, still a lot, of course. And 1/3 of all living creatures in the ocean died, and 1/3 of the ships, was destroyed as well. So, but anyway, it says that 1/3 of the creatures in the ocean dies, but in the bowl we see all creatures dies in the ocean. How that's going to work out is so that this is like it doesn't seem like it's the same plague. It seems like it's two different places in time, 2 different plagues, where one is only 1/3 and the other one is full. It's because it's one of the last ones, so these are pretty harsh. We also have the other angel that pours out on the floods and the water streams and all that became blood as well, and because they have killed the holy ones, the Christians, and thereby you have given them blood to drink, so. And here we go with the 7 plagues, the last 7 plagues. Yeah, we also have one other place, at least in regards to the last 7 plagues. In regards to one of the angels with the last 7 plagues came to me somewhere. It says somewhere. So it's at least twice, I think, in the book of Revelation where we're told this is the last plague. I don't know if we can search on last here. Last. I don't know how many words that would be in regards of, last plagues and the last. And there came unto me one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials or bowls, full of the 7 last plagues. So here we go, last. So 21:9, that's one of the places. I think it's probably the second angel that comes to John in regards to after to show him some things and all that. As far as I can gather, might be wrong. Yeah, but it's like saying, then came one of the 7 angels with the 7 vials. So it must have been one of the other angels. You have already one of them coming to John, showing him things, and then it seems there's another one of them coming over to him. But anyway, we see also in the... And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues. So here we see already at the beginning of the last 7 plagues in regards to the bowls or the vials. I'm not sure which one would be better translation. But anyway, we have the 7 last plagues. And here we're told that, in regards to the last plagues and all that. So that's twice that we're told it's the last plagues, So if this is the last plagues, of course, it cannot become, it cannot come before the trumpets. It would be close to, the 6 or 7 trumpet blow, because we have, it is the last time of things going on. The very end. And we have in regards of where it is being made ready for the kings from the east, and that would probably be in regards of when Jesus Christ comes with his holy ones. And then we see Satan collecting the people and God collecting them to Armageddon. And then the 7 bowl fixes the last one and says it is done. And I think it is done 2 places at least in regards to where it talks about it is done. Or it is finished. It is finished. Finished. Yeah, but in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of God should be finished, as he had declared to his servants, the prophets. So you have the 7 trumpets, right, in regards of being finished. And then we have the other place, but the rest of the... No. Where is the other place in regards to this? It is done. That would be, apparently it's written differently, so we might go look at that. But the mystery of God should be finished, so everything should pretty much be revealed at that point, as I can understand it. All the mystery is gone. Everything is laid out, plainly for everybody to see. And if they reject it with what they, it's done, But anyway, let's see here if we can get to 16. 16, we have a dog barking and all that, it's just lots of noise here. But anyway, 17. And the 7th angel poured out his vial unto the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, it is done. But of course that... it's not to say that it's the same thing, right? It is done. What word is there? To be made finished. It is finished. So it has at least the sum of the same, right? It is finished, but yeah, it is finished. It is done. It does seem to just be another way of saying, well, it is done, right? Because it is at the end. It does seem to fit with the... Let's see here. G1065, okay, G and G, what was it? Let's try that. Apparently, that's not how you do it in this application. I can't remember. It's a long time since I actually used it. Let's try that. No, that's not going to work either, apparently. And of course, now it's not in the paid version and all that, or the donated version, as they call it. Now it's only, so no, I guess I don't have... but there's like an and thing. help. I can't remember. I know I could do things in the past, but maybe it's all. That didn't work either. But anyway, it does seem to be related, those two places. Came to pass. Which must shortly come to pass, be done. To show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. I guess it's not helping in regards of the translation either when you have different words anyway. Patience of Jesus Christ was in the island. Okay, was dead. Be here after there was dead. Anyway, it's a good amount of time in the book. Was full. Wait, 17. Isn't it? Oh, I think I have the wrong. Was done 10. No, that's correct. 1096, right? So what's the problem? Oh, there's another page. Okay. Yeah, that's because it has reset. Usually I have all, huge amount of, instead of just 20 or whatever, I think I had set it to 100. But that's the way you get it when programmers make bullshit, right? It is done, shortly be done. Yeah, but anyway, we have it here. And the seventh angel poured out his vial unto the air, and there came a great voice, or noise, I guess, or whatever, out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." It's like voice, phone, sound. So it is done, and that would, again, fit pretty much with the end of the other one, although it's using another word. It would be interesting to actually see the Aramaic, if that actually used the same word or two different words in regards to this. I'm not sure if I have the Aramaic. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. It is done. S50. Oh, well, okay. Well, there's these problems with it. But 50, 80... 80, okay, so let's go to Revelation. What was the other place? I can't remember. My brain just doesn't work. I should have written it down. Okay, let's see here. Revelation 16:17, and can we go backward here and see if we have the search for? Nope. Oh. Incredible how much noise there is, And the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, The mystery of God should be finished. Okay, 10. No, oh yeah. The mystery. Let's go back to the Aramaic. 10:7. Well, it does seem to use some kind of other words as well here for that. But I think it's the same, really, it's pointing out the end. And that's also fitting pretty good. That is the end, it's the last bowl, right? The last plague. So it should make sense. So anyway. Yeah. So I think it was, what is he called? Isaac Newton, that talked about that. He goes into some of these plagues and trumpets. Apparently he believes that they seem to have, the book is on top, so I can't remember. I think it was the trumpets he was talking about, that it already finished and all that. And that's just nonsense. I'll be right back. Oh, the book is just, it's getting hot. No. Well, did I? That's a good question. Oh, it's over here. Okay, great. I also have this other book, apparently a timeline of the Jesuits. What's the... Oh well, it's a mess of things in my home, I guess. It's problematic. But yeah, Newton, I think, if I can find it again, I think he believed, So he says, Mr. Mead had explained the prophecy of the Six Trumpets, not much amiss. You kidding me, Newton? Not much amiss? And I don't think he actually writes about the seventh trumpet. So he says the first trumpet is blown, second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth. And then he doesn't mention the sixth, of course, apparently. Because, of course, the seventh, he doesn't mention the seventh. So it goes on to the sixth trumpet sounded to the walls, which Daniel's king, or blah, 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 and all that. And it just doesn't... There's a lot of information, but it's like, what is this nonsense, It just seems to be, So Newton seems to believe that the first, second, third, fourth, and some sources says he also rejected the divinity of Jesus Christ, or ended up rejecting it and rejecting the Trinity and all that. So, and that he did alchemy and all that, which is kind of weird if he was a Christian, that he would do alchemy, which is satanic occult practice. But in any case, but yeah, it just doesn't look good. I was really disappointed. That was one of the things that I was disappointed to in regards of things that I found in the book. I haven't read it from start to end because, it's just so much things where I'm thinking there are some good things as well. I have found some good things as well in it. But, here we have something in regards to the 42 month. And he says these prophecies of days are put for years. But again, if you're going to do, you can't do that with the sixth trumpet. But of course, apparently he believes that the sixth trumpet then must, I wonder if he talks about the sixth trumpet, does he also talks about the number? It's like the sixth trumpet is like at the end. Give me a break. Let's see here if there's anything in regards of the numbers. No, there doesn't seem to be anything as far as I can see where he writes about the numbers. Like, okay, so it seems somewhat confusing to read some of his things. I think he talks about that others has tried to interpretate things someplace and that they have failed and they should be more careful. And then he does the same. Going into the trumpets. It's like as far as I can see. If that's what I'm, if I'm correct in regards of he going into the trumpets, that's just missing the mark. The affairs of the church begin to be considered at the opening of the fifth seal. Okay. And he also talks about the second beast which rose out of the earth was the church of the Greek Empire, for it had two horns like those of the lamb, and therefore was a church. Well, this beast arising out of the earth assisted in that war. Anyway, but yeah, further it goes. I should probably read it from beginning to end, right? But there's just so much. I'm just thinking like this. It just seems so messy. So much information that is, and I don't know if I can. Here we have out of Christ's mouth at the opening of the seventh seal. Okay, so mouth of the seventh seal, and this put an end to the times of the first temple. What? So you're going backward, Newton, or what? Are you going back to the first temple instead of? Are you promoting preterism or whatever in regards to this? Yeah, it's like, if he believes that this goes back to the first temple, long back pretty much, then it doesn't. That's the seventh seal. Then that's why would you make a prophecy in regards to the past? Of course you get some past details sometimes, but it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know when he wrote this. He's said to have used a lot of time on things, and I've seen some good things from him, but clearly there's also some that are just. When I'm reading this, the documentary that says that no one wanted really to listen to him, in regards of when he was in this school or something like that, and he was lecturing, and it is told that sometimes the room was totally empty, that he was just speaking to the wall, because he was not, it was some sense confusing, and when I'm reading this, I can get like the sense of that, where he seems to be all over, So at the opening of the seventh seal, and this put an end time of the first temple. Are you kidding me? In regards to the first temple, what first temple are you really talking about? Let's not hope that he is, after the reign of the Emperor Julian and his successor Juvian, who reigned but 5 months, the empire became again divided between Valentinian and Valens. Then the Church Catholic, in the epistle to the angel of the Church of Laodicea, it reprehended as lukewarm and threatened to be spewed out of Christ's mouth. She said that she was rich and increased with goods and had need of nothing. Well, we can pretty much put that in our times as well, Being in outward prosperity, and knew not that she was inwardly wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. She is therefore spewed out of Christ's mouth at the opening of the seventh seal, and this put an end to the times of the first temple. Oh, he must be meaning something, because this put an end to the first temple. What is it in regards to the prophecy he thinks that is? one temple and a second temple being shown, or maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. Hopefully that would maybe make a little more sense at least. Okay, he does not. Okay, it's not in the past. Temple, physical temple at least. So that's good. So it talks about Constantine and all that. It talks about the sixth seal was not fully accomplished before the reign of their successor Gratian. But again, how can you say that the sixth seal is fulfilled? It's the Great Tribulation. It's the Great Tribulation. You gotta be kidding me. If the Great Tribulation is yet future, the sixth seal cannot be. But he seems to be putting the sixth seal in the past. And then he goes on afterwards explaining, Mr. Mead had explained the prophecy of the first six trumpet not much amiss, but if he had observed that the prophecy of pouring out the vials of wrath is synchronal to that of sounding the trumpets, his explanation would have been yet more complete. No, as far as I can understand on what was he called? On Newton, is that he think, and in the beginning I thought there might also be some relationship to that. But as you can see, the second trumpet have 1/3 of the animals killed, 1/3 of the ocean, I think it was, that becomes blood. But in the bowl, it is all the ocean and all the creatures in the ocean that dies out. So that's not what do you call it, synchronal. It is different. And I can't remember which bowl. Was it the second bowl as well that had that? Let's see here if we can. Oh my. So, but it's not synchronal because you have all compared to 1/3, It's just. So, and it's the 7 last plagues are the 7 last plagues. So that's the last 7 plagues that are on mankind at that point. And like, seconds out of the noise. Then woof woof woof, and you can hear people going up and down the stairs, and the metro and all that. Lots of noises in this area, that's for sure. You would think that it would be much, less, in this newer building and all that, but these designers that fix these, I don't know how people can be satisfied by these. Anyway. Let's see here. That was so wonderful over in my other apartment to the last bit there, Anyway, here the second angel hill, fixed its bowl. So the second trumpet makes 1/3 of the animals die in regards to the trumpets, but the second angel in regards to the bowls make everything die, makes all the ocean into blood. On all living creatures in the ocean died. You can't sink that, can you? You have 1/3 in one and 1/3 of the ocean, and the other one you have the full ocean. So first you have some of you have 2 different plagues. You have a beginning plague in some sense in regards to the trumpets, and then you have an ending plague that is much harsher. So you have one plague that is less harsh, 1/3 of ocean blood, 1/3 of the creatures dying. So there's still there's still water and there's still some sea creatures. But then you go to the bowls, which is the last 7 plagues, and you go to a full death of all the creatures in the ocean, right? And all blood, So that's not the same. You can't synchronal that, as far as I can see. It is other plagues that is, the last 7 plagues. So, anyway, We say the name of the bows is given to the walls which the three last trumpets sound to distinguish them from the walls of the four first. And it's like, what walls, Well, let's see at the first trumpet. The plague of the eastern wind at the sounding of the first trumpet was to fall upon the earth, that is, upon the nations of the Greek Empire. Accordingly, after the death of Theodosius the Great, the Goths, the Sarmatians, Huns, Isaurians, and Ostarian Moors invaded and miserably wasted Greece, Thrace, Asia Minor, Armenia, Syria, Egypt, Libya, and Illyricum for 10 or 12 years together. Oops. So he puts a fulfillment on the trumpet here. I guess it's probably from this guy, Mr. Mead, and he accepts Mr. Mead's interpretation on this. I know we have another guy out there that has written a book on it, and he also does these things that the trumpets already and goes into things and uses some other guy also in the past, although I can't remember the name of the guy that he's using, but he also goes into this where he's just, it's not really, it just doesn't seem to be interpreting the Bible from the Bible. It's just, okay, this looks pretty good. We'll just mix that together with some history. And again, these trumpets are after the Great Tribulation. So again, we haven't had the tribulation yet in regards to the Great Tribulation. So, there we go. So it's just doesn't make much sense. So the second trumpet he put in regards to the Vandals, aliens, who, see here, and turning it to blood, accordingly in the year 407, right? So here we have a year 407. The plague of the southern wind of the sounding of the third trumpet was to cause a great star burning, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here what he goes. 427, 439, and so forward. So, again, we have these different datings up to 534. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. And I guess he's now trying to use the vials as well. After he says, in pouring out the third vial, it is said, Thou art righteous, O Lord, because thou hast judged those that have shed the blood of the saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. How they shed the blood of saints may be understood by the following edict of Emperor Honorius, procured by 4 bishops sent to him by a council of African bishops who met at Carthage, 14 June AC 410. So he understands, the vials. He apparently seems to also understand that the vials, gives more information on this, which apparently he thinks is in the past. That's just not going to work. We have the fourth trumpet here, and fifth trumpet and sixth trumpet. No seventh trumpet as far as I can see. So he doesn't dare to go to the point when Jesus Christ returns. But it just, the sixth trumpet, he has AC 1258. He has some other datings as well in regards of trying to explain the sixth trumpet, 1453 and 1063 and blah blah blah. Just give me a break. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And it's interesting that he himself talks about that others, I think it was him in his book, he says about that others has been too quick to interpretate the Bible and all that, and then he ended up doing the same thing, He's speaking against, in regards of other people have been too quick in regards of interpreting it and fixing out, and thereby making a laugh stock out of things. And then he pretty much seems to be doing the same thing, Let's see here. When the 7 angels had poured out the 7 vials of wrath, And John had described them all in the present time. He is called up from the time of the 7 vial to the time of the 6th seal to take a view of the woman and her beast. Well, who were to reign in the times of the 7th seal, he says. Well, I think it's probably just better not to read much from Newton on these things, you know. But if he was mixing alchemy together and other things, you know, maybe that's, you know, I don't know. But it just seems like lots of nonsense. But apparently they seem to have believed, I guess, that the tribulation was already there, and thereby going into the trumpets and all that, you know. Well, there we go. I think it's a TV running or something like that. Some noise from that, yeah. Lots of noise on the Sabbath for sure. I guess there's not that many resting on the Sabbath. And the metro is running as well in the background. And we still have this thing. I have no idea what she's doing, but I think but it's running for sure, and it's been running for a long time. So, and now we have a kind of a television running in the background or something. Yeah, this is absolutely a terrible place to live. That's not for me for sure. Oh yeah, that's a pretty view and blah blah blah, and close to the beach and all that. Yeah, well, and all the dogs that barf and all that. We have dogs everywhere. Everybody seems to have dogs here in this area, you know. Oh well. Anyway, terrible place. Anyway, oh, the network is poor. Are you kidding me? Bang, 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 bang. Anyway, yeah, so I have some problems with Newton on things. That's for sure in regards, and it just seems like, you know, I was really looking forward to reading this from Newton and all that, but I should probably just have read it from the well, I guess it's always a good thing to be able to mark things up, you know. I have read some, you know, things that didn't seem bad, you know, so not totally out there. But yeah. Could you stop complaining about bad connection, you know? You don't have much to send anyway, just my voice. Wow. And I've only lived here for a week or so, I don't know, maybe a little more. What, 14? Nah, maybe nearly 2 weeks. I'm going to look forward to move away again. Is it still complaining? There's lots of nonsense for sure. So yeah, so that's yeah. I had really looked forward to this book. I had another book that I was looking very forward to, or 2 books actually that I was disappointed in the first you know, first look, and that was the same with Newton. One book that I haven't seemed to have a bad impression of is in regard to the Antichrist exposed from this guy. This just so. And he has also a book on the Jesuits, if I recall. So, but you know, I'll start with one book, I guess. It's a pretty big book overall. But yeah. Of course, you can always read the Bible, right? Where is the New Testament? Where did I put it? Over there. So yeah. So I don't think you can put those trumpets. You know, this is just annoys me when it does that. You know, it doesn't need to send much, and it's you know, I don't know what's wrong, but it has its problems. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll stop. I don't care for this, you know. And well, you can still see some blue on the sky, but still it's a little smurthy, white smurthy. Anyway, take care. I'll stop now. May Jehovah be with you, and Yeshua, most precious pearl, and the spirit of truth in us all. Amen.